wish you a particularly warm welcome to those of you who are visiting for the first time. First-timers don't feel obligated to contribute to the offertory when it arrives. Today, you're a guest. And please, everyone join us for coffee hour in the Parish Hall across the sidewalk. Pardon?
Do we have any announcements?
Yes. Oh, we do. If you could use the microphone down there.
Is it on? Yes. I want to remind the women of the church that we're celebrating the equinox on September 25th at 6:30 p.m. and we will be in the church because of the mosquitoes spreading deadly diseases. If you have any questions about it, you can ask me or Renee at coffee hour.
Hello, I'm Celia. I just want to encourage everybody to please check the perspective as often as you can. That's one vehicle we have for letting people know what's going on. And also, please, our board meetings are published there. You're welcome to submit any agenda items that you have or even attend a meeting. Just let me know, and we'll take it from there. Thanks.
One quick announcement. Man, doesn't sound like it is from the back, sorry. Hi, I'm Cindy. I'm membership chairperson, and I'm a team of one. So, yay for membership! I really do need some greeters on Sunday mornings. It's been me all summer, and I enjoy it, but I never get to sit with my wife. So it'd be nice if somebody else could help me share the burden. Please speak to me after church, and I'll put you on the schedule. We will be away for 3 weeks, sadly. 2 weeks. 3 weeks. We counted him up today, Andrew. Sorry. Andrew has already signed up to work to be a greeter, so thank you so much for your help.
Hi, I'm Ed Harlow. I'm not sure if this is better for joys and concerns or announcements, but as some of you may know, the Solar Jazz Festival, the 10th, is happening next week, a week from yesterday, actually, from noon to 4. And so I invite you all to enjoy the music. If any of you can contribute to help pay for the music, it's great, because we don't have as many contributions this year. Thank you.
Are there any other announcements?
There will be better days. 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 There will be better days.
We are in better days. For our chalice lighting, from Albert Schweitzer. At times our own light goes out. Sorry, I meant to do that. At times our own light goes out and is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lighted the flame within us.
Our opening words this morning are from Psalm 133. How rare it is, how lovely, this fellowship of those who meet together. And now, if you could rise if you so desire, we're singing our first hymn, number 38, Morning Has Broken.
The sharing of personal joys and sorrows is a ritual of connection. It is a time to briefly share and witness to one another's special moments of joy or sorrow in our living. We do this in faith that a joy shared increases joy in the world, and a sorrow or burden shared lightens the load. If you are here in the meeting house, please come forward and line up there. Drop a stone and briefly share at the microphone. Please tell us your name. If you are on Zoom and wish to share, please raise your physical hand or the Zoom hand icon and wait for someone here in the meeting house to call upon you. Please unmute yourself in preparation.
Hi, I'm Lisa, and I have both a joy and a letting go. On Thursday, we let go of our kitty of 15 years, and it was very hard, but
A prayer for this day. Spirit of life, spirit of love, spirit of hope, spirit of justice, God known by many different names. You have given us a day unique from any other. You have connected us, all of us, with each other and with the world in ways that are largely a mystery to us. You have given us little instruction other than to be present in our own lives, to feel wonder at the creation of the universe, and to love one another. You have put gifts and challenges in our paths, joys and sorrows, strengths and frailties, some of which we have already encountered, and others we have yet to discover. On this unique day, may we receive exactly what it is that we need. Amen and blessed be.
It's been a long time since I've done anything like this. So I'm sharing with you my General Assembly experience from 2024, but I want to let you know that this is not my first GA experience or other large gathering of like-minded people. In August of 1959, my dad was a delegate to the International Typographical Union, their 53rd convention in Philadelphia, and my parents brought me with them. I was 11. The significance of individual liberty, the right to assemble and organize, were impressed upon me with tours to the Betsy Ross House and Independence Hall, as well as the assemblage of workers and families I met in the hotel that weekend. My parents still benefit from my dad's pension, and I too am a beneficiary of my own union-negotiated pension. When our town council of churches and other neighboring towns sponsored families who were refugees from Indonesia, a young family stayed in our home for a few weeks while housing was found. There's a picture of me sitting at the piano bench with the 4-year-old in one of our church ladies' houses. It was really an eye-opening experience for all of us that continues to impress me with what any refugee or migrant is going through in today's times. My mom told us about them being turned away from an apartment because the dad was a darker-skinned man. It was a surprise to her. There was a lot of generosity in the extended communities and new friends that we made from the other side of our planet. Putting faith into action was an important message from my own family, my church, and the whole town, the whole region. We learned through our church experiences more about prejudice and segregation, maybe in part due to the fact that a curate was assigned to our congregation who was Black. I attended youth group retreats with him and other adults from our church where we sang lots of freedom songs. And I met people and worked with them, people who didn't look like me. And from our town, that was unusual. In 1964, as a high school sophomore, I traveled with a mixed group from Dorchester, Roxbury, and Saugus, and met the youth group in Harlem, where we painted a voter registration education center, red, white, and blue. Impactful memories. In 1976, when I found First Parish, just coming to this church, being part of this community, was what I needed to help me as an individual and to help me be a better parent to two small children. When I ventured into religious education, worship, and stewardship, I needed more help. And in those days, there were district workshops, regional workshops that many of us could go to. We were a small congregation, so that's how they focused it. I met a lot of people and found a lot more diversity in that group than I had in our own congregation. So when I had the opportunity to go to General Assembly, my first one was at Salt Lake City. Pete and I went together and shared a house with some other folks from Northboro, along with the annual business, which happens at every General Assembly, where they elect officers and trustees, pass the annual budget, vote on actions of immediate witness and other resolutions. We attended the UU College of Social Justice. There was an event to raise awareness of the unjust treatment of migrant workers and immigrants. First, we heard of it. We know a lot more about that now, don't we? Worship services are always over the top, and we got to sing in the GA choir. We brought home the Side with Love campaign, and we raised our banner in Parish Hall. If you haven't noticed, we have a new banner on the meeting house. Dean, if you could display that slide. But it hangs under the window in the front of our meeting house, so. Anyway, it was a flag, but now it's a banner. So it's a way of us as a community saying to the larger community that we are a truly welcoming congregation. All are welcome here. GA in Phoenix, Arizona included the candlelight vigil outside Sheriff Joe Arpaio's tent city. That migrant hellscape was finally taken down, but Joe Arpaio is still around, you may have heard. In Providence, Rhode Island, the closest GA and most recent one that we attended in person, the Justice Action was a fair wage event, still relevant in lots of places. Workshops and events, as well as delegate meetings and votings and choir rehearsals. We were very busy. We had a group sing at Water Fire event, so that was a lot of people from General Assembly around the country descending upon the river in Providence. It was a wonderful ceremony where they light fire in the river in cauldrons, and a Native American blesses the river and the people in the ceremony. Several of our Northboro youth attended and carried our banner in the parade. and some other folks came down for the Sunday service. Since 2020, General Assembly has been virtual or a combination of live and Zoom, hybrid like ours. This year was my third time attending virtually, and this year was all virtual. It was a great equalizer, and after all this experience, easy to navigate. I missed the Ware lecture, but the workshop I attended while I was mowing the lawn was about keeping the joy and love and caring for family with dementia. So like every year, I brought home something that was personal to me, as well as what I wanted to share with you all. So several common experiences from all these events, and I encourage you to participate if you are able, is that they broaden my world experience, deepen my spiritual awareness and connections. I learn new skills. I practice new ways of seeing, listening, and sharing, and the motivation to social justice witness and actions. As a delegate, I did my best to represent our congregation. I was glad that Pete attended as well so that we could discuss our experiences and the decisions before us. Bringing the experience back to our home congregation, First Parish, Northboro, is the next part. So the highlights of the 3 actions of immediate witness. The highlights of the actions of immediate witness, which all passed. You can vote for 3, and there were 3. But there was discussion on each of these. The first is World on Fire, humanitarian work, and climate change. Second was centering love amidst the ongoing impact of COVID-19. And at this point, I want to thank our AV team and Zoom hosts especially for making that possible, that myself and so many other people who were not able to attend in person stayed in community with you people here at First Parish. It also allows people who need to stay away because they don't want to bring an illness to First Parish to attend on Zoom. Also, thank you to the safety team. We still have our guidelines and ask for common sense. The third action of immediate witness was solidarity with Palestinians. That passed at 73.5% and spurred a discussion that even though it was mentioned in that resolution about care for the people of Israel, that they needed another statement. So with further discussion and a very moving speech by the president of the UUA, Sophia Betancourt, the UUGA support October 7 hostages responsive resolution passed at 77%, requesting that immediate release of Hamas-held hostages, acknowledging the real suffering of Jews within our association and beyond. Even the business sessions can be transformational. This year, there was a resolution embracing transgender, non-binary, intersex, and gender-diverse people is a fundamental expression of UU religious values. During the discussion, comments were made that were hurtful to others. The moderators interrupted the speaker. Mind you, this slide, and Dean, would you post it for us, please? Was posted before each event, chat, and discussion. And this we know we practice in our own covenant circles. People still have a hard time doing this, so that's why it is a spiritual practice. The last delegate to speak, because of this emotional disruption, used their 90 seconds to continuously repeat, "I love you. I love you. I love you." And I have to say, that over 2,000 people felt that moment together. The most complicated part of our delegate responsibilities this year was voting on the revision of the bylaws, Article 2. We spent time on Thursday and Friday in small groups working on the final wording and listening to everyone's support and concerns. And this was handled taking turns on their Zoom, pro and con, and discussion using the covenant. When we voted on Saturday, the faith's new expression of shared values was adopted by a vote of 2,025, 80.2%, to 499, 19.8%, with 21 abstaining at the General Assembly 2024. So I'm now going to ask you to read together with me from your order of service the congregational affirmation. And then we will have a sharing from individuals for each of the shared values that we voted on and represented in our little picture here. As Unitarian Universalists, we covenant, congregation to congregation, and through our association, to support and assist one another in our ministries. We draw from our heritages of freedom, reason, hope, and courage, building on the foundation of love. Love is the power that holds us together and is at the center of our shared values. We are accountable to one another for doing the work of living our shared values through the spiritual discipline of love. Inseparable from one another, these shared values are equity, generosity, interdependence, justice, pluralism, and transformation, centered around love.
Interdependence. We honor the interdependent web of all existence. With reverence for the great web of life and with humility, we acknowledge our place in it. We covenant to protect Earth and all beings from exploitation. We will create and nurture sustainable relationships of care and respect, mutuality, and justice. We will work to repair harm and damaged relationships.
Pluralism. We celebrate that we are all sacred beings, diverse in culture, experience, and theology. We covenant to learn from one another in our free and responsible search for truth and meaning. We embrace our differences and commonalities with love, curiosity, and respect.
Justice. We work to be diverse, multicultural, beloved communities where all thrive. We covenant to dismantle racism and all forms of systemic oppression. We support the use of inclusive democratic processes to make decisions within our congregations, our association, and society at large.
Transformation. We adapt to the changing world. We covenant to collectively transform and grow spiritually and ethically. Openness to change is fundamental to our Unitarian and Universalist heritage, never complete and never perfect.
Generosity. We cultivate a spirit of gratitude and hope. We covenant to freely and compassionately share our faith, presence, and resources. Our generosity connects us to one another in relationships of interdependence and mutuality.
Equity. We declare that every person has the right to flourish with inherent dignity and worthiness. We covenant to use our time, wisdom, attention, and money to build and sustain fully accessible and inclusive communities.
And at the center is love. For our offertory this morning, for the month of September, our half plate goes to You, the Vote. So our anthem this morning is from the How We Thrive Choir with a vote thing.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive in this great turning. We shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning, we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive in this great turning. We shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning, we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning, we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning, we shall learn to lead in love.
Now I'd like to share my experiences at GA this year. As Linda mentioned, I've been to a number of GAs. This one was different. It was all virtual. And for me, I've been recovering from being ill last summer. And the effect is to give me fatigue, Turns out I need a nap every afternoon, which isn't a bad thing, but my concentration hasn't been the best. So getting ready for GA, I'm afraid I sort of fell down on the job. I didn't do any reading beforehand, and I just started listening to the presentations and the discussions. And because it was virtual, it was a little hard to feel that feeling of community when you're surrounded with 3,000 people who sort of think and believe like you do. But remembering what GA was like in the past, I dove in with optimism. And so the first thing I started to hear was about Article 2 and how it might replace our 7 principles. I went, wait a minute, can't do that. I've been carrying around the 7 principles in my pocket for years. Where am I going to get a new card? And I thought about my early church life. I was raised a Catholic, where I was told what I should believe, and I really didn't agree with that, and I left the church. But I did calm down. I realized that love was at the center of all the discussions. I started to do my reading and listen to all the pros and cons and all the presentations. And I found the history of our 7 principles. At first, in 1961, when the 2 churches, Unitarian and Universalist, attempted to merge, they came up with 6 principles. And when you read them, they don't look too familiar. Turns out that the discussion, the democratic discussion, was so severe, the 2 churches almost didn't merge. But they got through it. And then, in 1985, the principles were updated, again at General Assembly, and this time the agreement was almost unanimous to make the change. And again, in the 70s, people got together talking about the language of the principles and how it was just a little bit sexist. They made a lot of changes, and that vote was unanimous to change the principles. So 1970 was where the principles in my wallet came from. Wasn't too long ago. And each time the change was made by loving people working in a democratic way. And this was no different at this GA. Many congregations, many volunteers worked for 3 years to come up with an Article 2 contents. I read and I listened, and I voted yes. The reasons for the change were clear and well thought out. And I'm really looking forward to Reverend Steve's presentation in the coming months on the contents of Article 2. And so I hope you read more about it and listen to his services. Thanks.
So a continuation of Article 2, this section is the inspiration and inclusion and freedom of beliefs. So Pete will start with inspirations.
Okay, this is from Article 2. We draw inspirations. Direct experiences of transcending mystery and wonder are primary sources of Unitarian Universalist inspiration. These experiences open our hearts, renew our spirits, and transform our lives. We draw upon them and are inspired by sacred, secular, and scientific understandings that help us make meaning and live into our values. These sources ground us and sustain us in ordinary, difficult, and joyous times. We respect the histories, contexts, and cultures in which these sources were created and are currently practiced. grateful for the experiences that move us, aware of the religious ancestries we inherit, and enlivened by the diversity which enriches our faith, we are called to ever deepen and expand our wisdom.
Inclusion. Systems of power, privilege, and oppression have traditionally created barriers for persons and groups with particular identities, ages, abilities, and histories. We pledge to replace such barriers with ever-widening circles of solidarity and mutual respect. We strive to be an association of congregations that truly welcome all persons who share our values. We commit to being an association of congregations that empowers and enhances everyone's participation, especially those with historically marginalized identities.
Freedom of belief. Congregational freedom and the individual's right of conscience and central to our Unitarian Universalist heritage. Congregations may establish statements of purpose, covenants, and bonds of union, so long as they do not require that members adhere to a particular creed.
I'm going to slide over to the piano and invite you to join us in singing the closing hymn, number 163. I left my closing words up here. So in your order of service and in the electronic version of the order of service that went out, there were several links to the UUA, UU World magazine with articles about General Assembly, more details about the AIWs, and Article 2. Also a link to the Sunday worship service that was just so moving. The music was wonderful, but it really goes with the whole service. So I encourage you to go to that link and watch it. It's about our beloved global community. So Celia called us after watching the service, and we shared our excitement. We conveyed to you a lot of words about what happened. There was a lot of thought going, as you know, you use. We pay attention to every word. There was a lot of effort in that. But ultimately, what it is the connection that we have with so many people around the world who are really trying to live the values that are better reflected now with the work that was done. So I don't have prayerful words for you, but a recommendation to follow those links and to have more conversations. The worship team is planning to have services based on each one throughout the year. Some will be lay services, some will be guest ministers, and also Reverend Steve. So I think that this is a tool for all of us to grow in our faith, as all the stories that I told you about what happened to me. Those are the things that deepened my connection with people in the whole world. So we have time for our postlude, which is another video for General Assembly 2020, which was the first virtual assembly. And I hope that you will all join us next door for refreshments and hanging out together. Thank you for being here today.
For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. Oh, for each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. Oh, for each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings, and we are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage, fathers of time, daughters of dust, and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy, brothers of love, lovers of life, and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth, keepers of faith, makers of peace, and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers. We are our grandfather's dreamings, and we are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage, fathers of time, daughters of dust, and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy, brothers of love, lovers of life, and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers. We are our grandfather's dreamings, and we are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are one.
I promise to report.
I'll get rid of my paper.